From WKGC Public Media in Panama City, this is ReelTalk, the place where you can join the cinematic conversations frame by frame each week. But today, we're taking a break from cinema to review the Emerald Coast's newest entertainment offering, Dolly Parton's Pirates Voyage Stuntacular Dinner and Show, now open in Panama City Beach. I'm your host, Ryan R.L. Terry. Today I am joined by WKGC's Karen, host of The Blend and Cold Cases and Curiosities.
Hello, thank you for having me on.
Wonderful to have you back, Karen. And returning guest, Paul Bonnette, chair of the Hilton Hospitality Management Program at Gulf Coast State College.
Thanks, as always, for getting to hang out with you guys.
Again, we are reviewing the Emerald Coast's newest entertainment offering, Dolly Parton's Pirates Voyage, now open in Panama City Beach and welcoming guests. Have you attended a performance or have questions about it? Join the conversation this hour, 850-772-6803. You can also send us a message on the WKGC Facebook page or email us at wkgcnews@gulfcoast.edu. Before we get into details, guys, in a statement or two, what was your overall impression of your experience last week?
I'm going to go ahead and speak up because I had a blast. It was way more than I could have ever imagined it being. I mean, jaw-dropping. Honestly, there was not a point throughout that show where I was just, like, maybe a little TMI, but I had to go to the little girl's room. And I was just like, I didn't want to go. I was like, no, I can hold it. Cause
it also requires going up all the stairs.
Yes, that too. But I was like, I don't want to miss anything. Like you literally, it's like being in the best movie and you're just hoping they're going to have like an intermission. Mm-hmm. It was great. I had
there you have it, folks. Jaw-dropping and refuse to go to the restroom. I mean,
yes.
That's
inspiring.
That's it all right there. Paul, how about you?
So I actually have a little bit different of a experience with it because I've been to the one in Pigeon Forge. And so I knew a little bit about what to expect, and I had a comparison to. And this is actually better than the one in Pigeon Forge, which was amazing because of the fact that I was like, oh, great, there's some new elements to this that were not in the Pigeon Forge one when I went there last year. And so it really was so interesting to kind of go, okay, this is what I think is going to happen next. And no, it's actually something completely different. And so it's really interesting that the fact that even if you've been to the other ones, this one's a little bit different.
So even if you've been to the one in Pigeon Forge or perhaps Myrtle Beach, you may have a different experience here. So definitely from Pigeon Forge. Perhaps that's also true with Myrtle Beach. So even if you've been to one of these others, still may want to check out Pirates Voyage. And for me, coming from Tampa, being a longtime pass holder to all four major Central and West Central Florida theme parks, my expectations for themed entertainment, not Pirates Voyage specifically, just themed entertainment in general, very high. And I must say that Pirates Voyage exceeded any of the expectations I had for my experience. It really felt like something right out of Tampa, Orlando, or even Las Vegas. Even more, it met the quality we've come to expect from anything Dolly touches. And speaking of Dolly, we had a surprise last Thursday, didn't we?
Twice.
Yes.
2 times.
Yes, and that was the, just really... we were hoping that Dolly would show up, but we never really 100% knew. And so then when she comes out and she just starts talking, and it
place to bring the next pirate room. And everybody here in Panama City Beach has been amazing. They're so great people to work with.
I didn't realize that we were able to get Dolly on our show this morning.
I know, right?
I called in some favors, and this
pulled
is
a
what
few strings.
Right, this is what I do. It's fine.
Hey, but it was awesome. Like Dolly's, I'm not the biggest Dolly fan, but I like of her music. She does have some good songs, but it's Dolly Parton. Yeah. I mean, I was just, what do you call it, starstruck?
Yeah.
She was really the first. I've seen like some kind of B-list, maybe C-list celebrities. So to see Dolly Parton as my first real...
Like 15 feet away.
Yes.
Like really close.
I had so many family members that were like, oh my gosh, you're so lucky. They They were jealous.
You know, one thing I wanted to kind of speak about, and I've actually talked to Ellen and Leah, the PR director, the marketing, because I've gotten to see this from the ground up. I was there for the groundbreaking. I was there for the construction. And so one of the things that I've always talked to them about and told them how excited I am for this is because something you mentioned, Ryan, this is Orlando-leveled theme park entertainment.
Yeah, it really is.
And in Panama City, that's something that we desperately need. We haven't really had a new attraction here in a while. And so there are attractions, there are things, there are things to do. But one of the great things with this is it's so immersive and it's so big and it's so new and it's so cool that we're now able to draw people from Destin. We're now able to draw people from Dothan to, all over the Southeast who are going to come see this. And it's going to be a big draw to Panama City and to our area. And so this is going to revitalize tourism in many ways for the next couple years at least.
And to your point, while it is an attraction and while it is a new hospitality offering, if you will, it really is an entertainment venue.
Yes.
And there aren't many entertainment venues. There's attractions. There's wonderful restaurants. There are some fantastic hotels. However, there was a lack in the offering of entertainment, and this fills that void with incredibly high level of quality, attention to detail, and I'm excited to dive into the show this hour and to talk about why we were so impressed. It's easy to say, it's very impressive, but it's specifically why. And so I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys and hearing from our listeners that have been to the show. In fact, while its grand opening was last Thursday on the 5th, last Thursday the 5th. It had been open for, a week, 10 days?
About a week, a little over a week.
Yeah, so, and it wasn't a soft open either. It was like, no, we are ready to open.
Well, they had an opening, and then they were like, okay, let's go ahead and open earlier than expected, which is unheard of. I mean, most places are like, we got to scramble just to get the doors open when we say we are. Yeah. They opened days before. They're like, you know what, we're good. Let's try it out. Let's get this party started.
Yeah. And so they were already hitting the ground running when Dolly got there. I loved how she mentioned, albeit briefly, but she took pictures and met each and every person there, or at least groups of individuals that were there. And I think that to have her come in and not only open it, but to take the time, the whole day that she was here to meet the individuals, whether they're on the operations staff or the entertainment staff, whether they're front of house, back of house, to meet all these individuals and take photos with them.
Meet her employees, meet the people who are working to create this, to build, this entertainment thing, because to your point.
Yeah, it demands a high level of respect for making that intentional decision to do that. Because there's many celebrities that are out there that have lent their names to this, that, and the other that may go for the grand opening, but they're not always going to meet with everybody. And to hear how she took her photos. In fact, when we went back for the show later on, the server that we had said, got to take my photo. She wasn't too distracted from her work. She was very focused on her work and getting all the food. But there was you could tell that she was just really excited to be there. And our server, our server was also starstruck. And so I like hearing how she was very gracious with her time and taking those photos and meeting the employees that are there. And,
if I could also say, one thing that also benefits, because if you work for Pirates Voyage or you work for Dollywood or you work for, any of her companies, your number one question that everybody's going to ask you always, and it never stops, is, have you met Dolly? And so it is actually in her best interest as well to meet with her employees and to have that rapport so that they go, because I've spoken to, to Ellen and stuff, and they always speak so highly, like she is just as wonderful in person as she is, as we've seen her on TV and whatnot. And so that really kind of shows that they believe in the company, and they believe in her, and they believe in what they're creating.
It's a brand.
It's a brand. And so, yeah, just like you talked about with that server, that server, whenever somebody asks that server, I've met Dolly. She's wonderful. She took a picture with us. Yeah. She spent some time. And so now that brand is getting even more cemented. I mean, we knew she was, fantastic, but now it's even more so.
Yeah, it really is. And listeners, if you were able to catch Creative Conversations this past week, you were able to hear an interview with Pirates Voyage PR Director Ellen Liston, whom Paul mentioned just a moment ago. But Karen, you also spoke with her at length following the press event on Thursday. What can you tell us about your extended conversation with Ellen?
Well, first off, she's a very friendly person. To be that high up in command, I mean, she was really easy to talk to, but she was explaining, because I had asked her a few different things about, what people can expect of the show. Is any of Dolly's music interwoven into it? And she did say yes. During the mermaid portion, you do hear one of her songs. But most importantly, I had asked her, what does opening this venue do for Bay County? And I, went in to ask her, how many people they hired and all that. And so if we could take a little listen, and she's going to answer that question for us.
We are employing about 300 people in a variety of different positions, whether we'll have some added positions just for the summer. It's exciting to have this many opportunities to offer employment in an area. And then because we know it's something brand new to the area, it'll help with tax dollars as well by everyone coming here, and we give back to the economy that way. So just excited to be a part of this community.
Let me see. I think mine's on. Yeah. We're having a little technical.
Okay. All right. I'm back. So you could hear 300 jobs, 300 people are on the staff, and then like she was saying, they're going to hire more for the summertime, which we're into the summer. But that's a lot of jobs. That's a lot of opportunities. And if you notice the music in the background, that was not music that I added. That is the music that you hear.
Ambiance.
Yeah, the ambiance. Yeah, when you're in that building, I mean, it's awesome. It's beautiful.
300 jobs, and it's also a variety of jobs. There are jobs that were created that, for all intents and purposes, did not exist here. So in addition to providing other jobs in hospitality and culinary, or also the venue is providing jobs in entertainment as well. Some of the performers, I remember Ellen mentioned, it might have been on Creative Conversations last week, were former circus performers.
Yes.
So I worked for Feld Entertainment for about 3 years, during which time the circus was having its final performances, but at least I can say I ran away to join the circus.
Hey, that's awesome.
So
that explains so much now.
But I mention that because where do all these performers go? If you don't get into Cirque du Soleil, and Cirque du Soleil is a great show, but if you don't get into Cirque du Soleil and you're a circus performer and Ringling Brothers closes, and I know since then they've relaunched the circus, it's taken a different form, but at the time the circus is closed, where do you go? Maybe a theme park, maybe Cirque du Soleil. Well, if you don't get into a theme park, you don't get into Cirque du Soleil, where do you go? And the circus has long since been headquartered in Florida, in Sarasota. It's where Ringling Brothers was. And so Florida has a large population of acrobats, of circus performers. And
wow, I did not realize that.
Yes, very much so. And even, FSU? FSU has a circus program.
Mm-hmm.
So the circus has a long-standing history in Florida. But, where do they go? Well, here we have a venue. We have an entertainment venue, which is now employing at least some, we don't know, 1, 2, 3, 10, we don't know how many, but at least some individuals that were formerly with circuses. Maybe Ringling Brothers could be another. And so I like how they're created new opportunities.
Yes.
It's not just reinforcing opportunities that have been here for a long time, which is also very important, but we're introducing new career areas into the area. So of the 300, pulling from both local talent and talent abroad, I love how we have new residents in the area in and around Panama City Beach. And so new friends, new neighbors, and I think I'm just really excited to see the spin-offs from this as it continues to succeed. Paul?
In addition to to acrobats and things like that, they're also providing jobs for actors. And acting is a tough thing to find a job in. And so, in fact, even Ellen mentioned that, there are acting students who are here at Gulf Coast that are actually hired on at Pirates Voyage. And that's the good thing is, if you have a passion for acting or acrobatics or being a mermaid or things like that, finding something to pay the bills when this is your passion is very difficult to find. And so being able to actually have a place where you can go do what you love for a company you believe in, for a person you believe in, and provide these memories for people, these outstanding entertainment, was just a win-win for everybody.
After seeing that show, because I had brought Lacey, my 10-year-old, she wants to be a mermaid in that show so badly. Like, she was asking the wait staff and everything, like, how she could do it. It was awesome.
So I actually used to teach mermaiding, believe it or not.
That's right.
What have you not done?
Just the skills of a misspent youth.
At the Days Inn Resort, correct?
Yes,
It had a pirate show, as I understand it, including mermaids.
We had pirates, we had mermaids, we had a fire-breathing mermaid show.
Were there mermaids breathing fire?
Of course. Yeah.
It's like heartburn, I think, but,
but we would have, because it had started just with a pirate walking around taking pictures, and so I have this creativity that I get to do sometimes, and I could craft these shows. And so I had friends who were pirates or who were mermaids, and so we would bring on Gulf Coast students, or we would bring on, and we would teach them how to be a mermaid, because if you're performing as a mermaid, there are certain things you have to do, certain ways you hold your hand, certain ways you swim, certain ways you answer questions. What happens if you see a shark? How do you go to the bathroom? What do you eat? Who are your fish friends? There are certain things that you have to do as a mermaid to keep that realism for it. And, and with a pirate, there's certain ways you have to sword fight. There's choreography. There is, how not to scare kids, because pirates can be scary.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of interesting, and to speak to the mermaids, I love, when I was looking at them, I was paying attention to their tails, I was paying attention to their outfits, because I've had to buy those, I've had to find those, and at a time when mermaid, tails and things were not readily available.
And certainly more today, there's a lot of hobbyists that enjoy going out and doing that. And that's something else that has been introduced to the area. If you wanted to be a professional mermaid, one of your only options was Weeki Wachee Springs State Park. They're very famous for their long-running mermaid show, dating all the way back to the 1950s, I believe. And so, which is wonderful that it's there, but obviously not everybody that wants to be a mermaid, can be in the Weeki Wachee cast or at the Days Inn Resort. So not a lot of opportunities. So for those that want to make it their career, here we have new opportunities that have been created to turn that passion into your full-time career. And so I love seeing how there may be individuals out there like Lacey who may be able to realize those dreams. You're listening to Real Talk on 90.7 WKGC, and I'm your host, Ryan R.L. Terry. Today I am joined by returning guest Paul Bonnette and WKGC's Karen to review the Emerald Coast's newest entertainment offering, Dolly Parton's Pirates Voyage Dinner and Show, now welcoming guests in Panama City Beach. Have you seen the show or been to it? Been to this one? Maybe the one Pigeon Forge, Myrtle Beach? Join the conversation this hour. Paul, Karen, let our listeners know how they can connect with us.
So one of the best ways is give us a call, 850-772-6803.
Or you can easily send us a message on the WKGC Facebook page, or you can email the show at wkgcnews@wkgc.org.
That's right. We did recently update the domain there. Thank you very much for that, Karen.
You're very welcome.
So we'll be right back after a short break to continue our discussion on the stuntacular Pirates Voyage dinner show. Keep the dial or stream right here on 90.7 WKGC.
Support for WKGC comes from the Florida Department of Health, who is working to increase water safety awareness. Drownings are a leading cause of unintentional death of children ages 1 to 4. Water safety is everyone's responsibility. Learn more at watersmartfl.com.
We've all felt left out. And for people who move to this country, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Our estimated flight time to New York is approximately 7.5 hours, flying at 40,000 feet.
2 groups from New York City are on the Soul of Jazz this Saturday. Plus, tracks from a former label in New York, Instinct Records. It is the Soul of Jazz.
Saturdays at 6 p.m. on WKGC.
Will you fasten your seatbelts for takeoff, please? Thank you.
Welcome back. You are listening to Real Talk on 90.7 WKGC. You are with Ryan R.L. Terry. Taking a break from cinema today, we are talking about the Emerald Coast's newest entertainment offering, Dolly Parton's Pirates Voyage Stuntacular Dinner and Show, now open in Panama City Beach. My guests today are Paul Bonnette, chair of the Hilton Hospitality Program at Gulf Coast State College, and WKGC's Karen, host of The Blend and Cold Cases and Curiosities. Let's break down our experience for the listeners, guys, from the time we arrived to the time we left. So much to talk about. Another 40 minutes isn't going to do it justice, but we'll get as much in there as we can. For starters, what did you guys make of the main lobby area called the Village?
It was, I really enjoyed it. It's very opened up. Mm-hmm. So, you don't feel like you're crammed and, claustrophobic feeling. It's very opened up, and it's very, very pirate-like. Mm-hmm. There's decor. I saw an area where there was just all these different pirate uniforms, I guess you would call it. Costumes, whatever.
Uniform if you are a pirate. Costume if you're pretending to be one.
There you go. They had a bunch of different ones on the wall. I mean, there was, looking up at the ceiling, you could see like flags or tattered flags. It was really cool.
And the music, which we got to hear a little in your interview with Ellen there a moment ago. Paul, what about you?
So one thing I loved is the immersiveness.
Yes.
Because any good attraction, any good experience is all about drawing you in. And so from the moment you walk through, it's in the shape of a pirate ship, and, you walk through, and there is a viewing area for the sea lions.
Yes. Oh, that was so cool.
And so you get sucked in. You get into the story from the moment that you turn in your ticket, from the moment that you come in. You walk in, and there is obviously the snack bar right in front of you. You get a snack. There is, to your right is this performing area where they have bands and they have pre-show acts. And then you've got over to your left, you've got the gift shop with every pirate thing you could ever want. And then you've got the pirate makeup. You can, get in the chair and get, face painted and get made up like a pirate. Like, all of this happening before you've even found your seat.
Yeah.
That's the thing is, this is not just a show. Like a movie, you go, okay, I get my snacks, I go to my seat, I watch the movie, I leave. That's how it works. This is different. This is, I go in, there's more to enjoy. There's everywhere you look, there's something different. And all of this before you even go through the doors to find your seat.
Yeah, don't forget they take your picture.
Right, I forgot about the picture.
Yeah, 2 different poses. Like one of them's like standing facing you, and then the other one, they'll have you look up at the ceiling, and they're like, pretend the pirates are coming for you. Mm-hmm. And they print them on really good quality picture paper. I mean, that's...
It's Orlando or Tampa theme park quality right here along the Emerald Coast here in Panama City Beach. You mentioned the sea lion, Paul. Loved having the sea lion out there.
Yes.
One of the areas where I hope they may look at making some changes in the future is adding an awning or something to mitigate the reflection of the sun. Because I found that I did have to lean right up to the glass to see the sea lion.
That explains all the nose prints that I saw there.
Exactly. That's what I was just kind of thinking. I'm like, how many other faces were smashed up against that?
Yeah.
So I think if they were to add even if it wasn't like 36 inches or something, just enough to where, kind of cut down on the reflection of the sun. Because obviously we are meant to see it. Otherwise it would not be a glass wall. So
exactly.
I like that. So maybe, if they're listening, that may be something to take a look at is make it a little bit easier to see the sea lion. But because I heard it at first, I'm walking back to my car and that sounds like a sea lion. What? So I go back over. So I didn't see it when I first arrived. It was when I was leaving. I go over and oh my gosh, there's a sea lion right there at the building. And so that was and you're not even in the building yet. And so you're right there upon arrival. Great design on the outside, and you have that and the fluidity of the design, the intentionally crafted experience starts on the outside, follows
to draw you
inside,
into the story,
draws you in, incredibly immersive, and it's expansive. Paul, we were speaking last week after the press event, and you mentioned that not only is this the third Pirates Voyage, it's also the largest Pirates Voyage venue. If I remember correctly, the other two right around 700 capacity, and this one's about 1,000, right?
Yes.
That's what I can't 100% confirm that because my memory is not the greatest in the world. But yes, I believe that's what they had said is because I had asked on construction, how is this compared to Pigeon Forge? Because I've seen that one, and I noticed it looked bigger. And they were like, this is actually going to seat more people. It's going to be more expansive. And so it was just, kind of really, you walk in and you're just blown away.
You're in a whole new world.
Right.
You've been sucked into this Pirates world.
10-year-old me I was losing my mind. I was, just like, oh my God, this is unheard of in Panama City Beach.
Yeah, the expansive nature of the operation continues to the quick service cafe. Its name escapes me. If you guys remember the name of the cafe that's in the lobby.
It's called where Ryan gets his popcorn.
It's called Good Popcorn.
Oh, that popcorn was delicious.
I'm
Movie
still
theaters,
eating
take
on
a note.
it.
They have great popcorn.
Yeah, I'm still eating on it at home. Just
Ryan
to be honest.
would do a whole show on the popcorn alone if you let him.
Actually, I have got some podcast friends of mine. It's a film podcast, but they actually do talk about the popcorn at the movie theater. It's a big deal for those that are popcorn connoisseurs, but they have more than popcorn. It's an expansive menu. They have both an alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks, slushies, popcorn, and a number of other treats there as you wait. Even though you're there to see the show, as you're waiting for the show, there's a lot for you to enjoy from the Pirate Makeover area, Paul, which you mentioned, which I describe as their answer to Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique at Magic Kingdom for those that have been there. But the shop with a lot of great items, including one of the items that's on the menu, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, where you can make it for yourself at home.
One of the things that I thought was really great is something I call sleight of hand.
Please elaborate.
It's a hospitality thing, and it is something you see a lot in theme parks, which is you move people and you have them look where you want them to see, so you don't see the, behind the scenes. You don't see the magic behind the curtain. And so one of the things, they have all these great things to do inside this pre-show area. What you don't see is they're having to get everything ready in the show area because chances are if you've gone to the 8 o'clock show, they're having to reset. They're having to redo it because they've just done another show that just finished up not too long ago with potentially 1,000 people that have been, moved out and cleaned and just reset for, it's like having a restaurant that has to move everybody out, clean, set up, and get right back. And so the good thing about this pre-show area is you are immersed in this experience, in the shopping, the snacking, the drinks, the music, the live entertainment. And so you are immersed in that, and then when it's time, the doors magically open, and now you're ready for the show, but you don't know all the hard work that has gone into resetting that, getting that show area ready for you to feel like you are the only ones that have been in there, that this is all for you. Mm-hmm. So it's the sleight of hand I talk about in class that I always think is absolutely amazing, the hard work that goes into making something look effortless.
I love that sleight of hand. I've only ever associated it with magic shows, prestidigitation, but now there's another way of using it there. You mentioned the pre-show acts, which I was able to catch a couple of when we went back for the show later on. But Karen, there is a connection between WKGC and one of the pre-show acts that individuals can enjoy at Pirates Voyage. Tell our listeners a little bit more about that duo.
Yes, it is Jack and Jen. We've had them on our show. I've had them on The Blend in the past. They've been on Sound Sessions with Tom. They've been part of WKGC for quite some time now, and they're made up of Jack, who is Eli Ingram, and Jen is Sandy Marlisa. And they recently, they are a duo. They're a local duo, and they recently signed a contract to be the pre-show act for Pirates Voyage, which this is huge for them. I mean, this is really, really big for them, and I'm very, very proud.
And, I've seen a lot of people post about them, and that's one of the cool things about when you go to an experience like this and you see people you know.
Yes.
Especially if they're performing. Oh, my gosh, you're just like, I know them. I know them. They're like friends of mine.
Yeah, exactly. And one of a theater professor, head of the theater department at Gulf Coast State College, Vincent Pellegrino, he's also been cast as a pirate in the show. So
as well as one of his students.
One of his students.
Wow.
Okay, excellent. I love hearing all these opportunities that individuals have to build upon their academics, build upon their career, and grow right here along the Emerald Coast without having to feel as though I have to leave. And so here is an opportunity for you to get to stay here and continue to work on your career, whether it's acting, maybe being an acrobatic, musician. So a lot of different opportunities, but on a regular basis. It's not just a one-off opportunity. This is here for the foreseeable future, and so to have that here on a recurring basis throughout the year. And there'll be times that they will shut down for refurbishment in the off season, but for the most part, year round, having these opportunities there. You're listening to Real Talk on 90.7 WKGC. Taking a break from cinema this week, we're talking about the Emerald Coast's newest entertainment offering, Dolly Parton's Pirates Voyage Stuntacular Dinner and Show, now open in Panama City Beach. Let's dive into the pirate-filled waters of Buccaneer Bay now. What did you guys think of the stage design? So now we're inside the auditorium, inside the arena. So nothing's happened yet, but the show really has already began. So what do you guys think of that stage design and the seating?
I think the stage design was immaculate. I mean, they did a really good job at putting you in, Buccaneer Bay. Like you feel like that's where you're at. You look around, and I remember Lacey. She was looking up because there's a part where there's double doors and you got planks coming out, and I had already had a sneak peek, so I knew the answer. But for this 10-year-old, she's so excited. Mind you, she didn't want to go at first. She wanted to do slip and slide with her friend.
I bet she regrets. She would have regretted that.
Oh yeah, she was like, I'm so glad I came. But just right off in the beginning, she is just so excited. She's like, I wonder what's going to be behind those doors. Oh my gosh, she was literally part of it. I mean, they did a great job of putting you in
the action,
the action, in the story. You really believe that you're a Buccaneer Bay. You're not, sitting in a theater.
The air, it feels different.
It does.
You walk in, it's like I can't really even describe the air, but the air feels different.
It really did. Like you are in front of water, but you feel like you're in front of water the entire time.
You're outside.
Yes.
That's the best way of describing it, is that even the air itself makes you, like, you feel that you are outside, that you are in front of a couple of pirate ships, one Crimson and one Sapphire. You're in front of these ships and right there at the water's edge. And there's not one bad seat in the house. It's almost like a theater in the round concept. And so no matter where you're sitting in the auditorium, you have a great view of the stage. And I like that.
Yes.
Because you don't feel that you have, I have to sit there, I need to sit there, or like I have to, do premium or VIP seating. Those are great options, but every seat is really good.
Yeah.
And so, and even the three of us saw it from
in different areas.
I saw it there at the front row, and I guess you guys saw it towards
I was
the
in
back.
the very back.
I was
still
close
a great
to.
Show.
Yeah, I was close. I was in F7, so I was close to the nosebleed, but. And that's the mindset that I had at first. Was like, I'm going to the nosebleeds, but I had the best view of the entire show. I don't feel like I could have been put anywhere better. And being there gave me and Lacey a really cool opportunity.
So I have 2 points.
Yeah.
One is a little nerdy, so I can't come on the show without nerding out a little bit. So your dopamine level, when you're excited about something, your dopamine rises.
Yes.
And so when you walk into that, that theater, so to speak, I'm going to call it a theater, even though Highway 98 is just beyond the wall. I mean, the real world exists just beyond, but you never know it. You never realize it because you're still immersed into that area. Your dopamine keeps rising because you see those two pirate ships. And it's a psychological, fact. It's actually because we get more excited when we're anticipating something beyond just the fact of getting to do it. And so I love the fact that you walk in and there it is. And so your dopamine level's already doing great because of pre-show. Now it's even more because you're anticipating. You're anticipating what's coming out. You're anticipating what goes just beyond those doors. But also I wanted to say about the good thing with the seating, you get a different experience every time because the Sapphire or the Crimson, you can actually, sit on either side. So part of the show is a competition between the pirates.
Yes.
I was Crimson and you were Sapphire, Ryan.
I was Sapphire, yeah.
I was Crimson.
Were you Crimson?
Yes.
I think you guys won, didn't you?
I'm pretty sure.
We did.
Yes.
We won.
Yes.
And that's what I was going to say, me and Lacey, because they were doing the competition, and one of the first games was a relay race. They had the two boats, and me and Lacey got chosen as the mother and daughter.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then there was a father and son, so we represented the Crimson side, and then they had the blue side, the Sapphire side made up the same way. And so they put Lacey and this little boy in this boat with another pirate. They had a rope attached to the front, and we were instructed. I have this random dad, that's important, this random dad, I don't even know this guy, standing right behind me. They're like, you're going to hold the rope and do hand over hand as fast as you can. This guy is way stronger than me. Way stronger than me. So they're like, go. And he's like pulling the rope, and I'm going with the rope. I fell into him probably 3 or 4 times. I was laughing my butt off. I mean, we had a blast, and we won.
Yes.
And it was so much fun. I kept telling him, I was like, I am so sorry, I didn't mean to fall on you. He's like, no, it's okay. He's like soaking wet from me falling on top of him, but we had a blast.
Also, didn't Lacey get a special gift?
She did. Yes, for being in that race, she got a copy of Coat of Many Colors. It's Dolly Parton's got a book series, Imagination
Library.
Yes, Imagination Library. And so it's a children's book made up of that song. Each page has got different lyrics. She got a cool medallion as well.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, it was a blast.
Is there a Dolly Parton autograph in there? Like, is there like a note or something?
In the very back of the book, there is a note from Dolly Parton to...
Yeah, I had shown it to Ryan.
Yeah, because that's what I had always heard, and I was like, oh, that sounds amazing. That's for a child who, gets to experience, they're already getting to experience this. Now they get a prize. Now they get a medallion, they get a book, they get, it's just, their mind's blown.
It was, and she kept saying, I'm so glad that I came. I'm so glad that I came.
So much better than slip and slide.
Yeah. I was like, see, I told you it'd be fun.
So we've got our second break coming up here soon, but before we go to the break, I do want to talk about the food, and we can finish talking about. Actually, you know what, Angela? Let's go ahead and go to our break a little bit early here. You're listening to Real Talk with Ryan R.L. Terry on 90.7 WKGC. My guests today are Paul Bonnette, chair of the Hilton Hospitality Management Program at Gulf Coast State College, and WKGC's own Karen, host of the Blend and Cold Cases and Curiosities. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about the food and the show itself. So keep the dial or stream right here on 90.7 WKGC.
Hurricanes, lightning, flooding, and tornadoes affect the entire state of Florida, and a team of meteorologists from the Florida Public Radio Emergency Network keep you informed around the clock. All year long, they are committed to providing in-depth weather coverage, both over the radio and on the mobile app Florida Storms. The Florida Public Radio Emergency Network is supported by this station and Citizens Property Insurance, online at citizensfla.com.
Hi, I'm WKGC's Tom Hoots, inviting you to join me Tuesday at noon for Sound Sessions. This week, we will be welcoming singer-songwriter Dave Woods. That's Tuesday at noon here on WKGC FM 90.7.
Welcome back. You're listening to Real Talk on 90.7 WKGC. You are with Ryan R.L. Terry. Taking a break from cinema today, we are talking about the Emerald Coast's newest entertainment offering, Dolly Parton's Pirates Voyage Stuntacular Dinner Show. And I add in that Stuntacular. It's not officially part of the name.
It should be.
You'll know why. I call it a Stuntacular Dinner and Show. Now open in Panama City Beach. My guests today are Paul Bonnette, chair of the Hilton Hospitality Management Program at Gulf Coast State College, and WKGC's own Karen, host of the Blend and Cold Cases and Curiosities. If you've seen the show or have questions about it, give us a call this hour to join the discussion, 850-772-6803. You can also send us a message on the WKGC Facebook page or email us at wkgcnews@wkgc.org. So I want to make sure that we do talk about the food, because it is dinner and a show. So we were told by Ellen last Wednesday to arrive hungry, and she wasn't kidding.
No, that was factual.
So what did you guys think of the delectable dinner that was served at the show?
I think it was really good food. I mean, you literally, like she was saying, I can't remember what she called it, but it's half of a chicken. You know, you get half of a chicken. It's baked, seasoned, juicy. Oh my gosh, I'm getting hungry. Pulled pork, corn on the cob, mashed potatoes. I elected for my drink, I got sweet tea. So you get a mason jar full of either sweet tea, Coca-Cola, or water, I believe was the options. But, oh, yeah. I wish, honestly, right now, I wish I could go back and get another helping. It was really, really, really good. Every bit of that chicken was so juicy.
It was very, very tasty food.
Yes.
And thoughtfully prepared. Paul, what did you think about the dinner that was served? And able to compare it, Karen and I are at a slight disadvantage. We can't compare it to the Pigeon Forge or Myrtle Beach location, but you've been to the Pigeon Forge location. So similar menus, but
yep.
Please talk about some of the differences, what listeners may expect, and again, just how much you enjoyed or didn't enjoy. But I think you enjoyed the food.
It's all right. I guess you like that kind of good food kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, Karen, in answer to your question, it is the half-o roasted chicken.
Half-o roasted.
Okay.
So their menu, just to kind of give our listeners kind of an idea, is you start off with the Voyager creamy vegetable soup.
Oh, yes.
I mentioned earlier, listeners, that there's an item on the menu you can buy in the gift shop. That is the item. Very popular creamy vegetable soup, and you can buy the mix in the gift shop when My sister's been to the one in Pigeon Forge.
Mm-hmm.
And so she knew when I was going, she's like, buy me the creamy soup. Even before I had
famous.
it myself. I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
I will
I
buy
see
you
why.
the creamy vegetable soup. But now I know why. She said I have to buy the creamy vegetable soup while I was there.
So I don't like vegetable soup, except I love this vegetable soup.
Yes, it was so good.
I don't, I'm such a picky eater, and it's, one thing I love about this is they take a big chance because you have so many people who are coming to the show, and everybody has different tastes. Just to kind of go back, so the vegetable soup comes with a Buccaneer biscuit.
Yes.
Which is just fall off, melt in your mouth.
I could have gone for 2 of those.
Me too. That's what I was about to say. I could have used another biscuit, but
yes, exactly. And then of course you get to have a roasted chicken, me Hardee's pulled pork,
me Hardee's,
the Cobb O buttery corn. And see, I love part of the, is the naming, Matey's mashed potatoes, and then the apple of my eye pie.
Yes, that's what I chose.
Yes. Then of course your drinks and everything. But
Lacey had gotten I don't mean to interrupt you. There's another dessert option though, the chocolate coconut cake.
Yes, and I don't know if that's offered all the time.
I don't know, but that's what Lacey got.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And so really this menu is very similar to Pigeon Forge, except instead of the roasted chicken, it is pan-fried chicken.
I think what I would, if I could design the menu, I would keep the pulled pork from the Panama City Beach location. I would swap out the roasted chicken here for the fried chicken up in Pigeon Forge. Now put those. It was very good. So listeners, don't get me wrong. The food is thoughtfully prepared. It is delicious.
Amazing.
However, if I had to choose between roasted chicken and fried chicken, I'm
gonna go fried.
I'm gonna go fried too.
Chicken every time.
Yeah.
Now up in Pigeon Forge, instead of pulled pork, you have ham.
Yeah, they can keep the ham. I'll take the pork.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm with you, Ryan.
And so it was really cool to get to have a different menu with this. I'm kind of with you. I like the pan-fried chicken. Yeah. And the pulled pork was absolutely amazing.
There's barbecue sauce right there. So whether you like it on the drier side or if you want it dripping with barbecue sauce, that's up to you. So the barbecue sauce is right there. I didn't see it at first. It's only after I finished dinner. Oh, there's barbecue sauce in front of me. So, but it is there in case you want to add the barbecue sauce to it. So I didn't get to taste the sauce itself. Did either of you taste it?
I did.
Okay.
I drizzled it. I like held it upside down and just kept squeezing it out.
One of the ladies that was sitting close to me, she had gotten it, and then I just kind of forgot. But yeah, I wish I would have tried it.
It was fantastic.
The food is a star, but there's also so many other stars in the show itself.
Yes.
And I know there are many people who are listening now who are excited about food, but they want to hear about this stuntacular show. So what did you guys make of the show itself?
Karen, do you want to start this party off with that?
Sure. I mean, it starts off strong. I mean, you're in there for just a few minutes, and you've got these macaws. The trainers come out, and there's macaws flying around in the theater, and I loved it how when they would swoop down, they had this little sound effect, and
it's like this
like
ethereal,
a sound.
Sparkly, yes. It kind of adds to it. It's part of the, one thing that I'm going to speak to, as I've just completely interrupted Karen.
It's okay. At least you admit it.
I know. I've got a problem. Is because Ryan talks about this on movies and everything. This is a movie. How a good movie pulls you in from the very beginning never lets go. This is just like that.
It's a great analogy.
I figure since it's ReelTalk, we'll compare it to movies. And just like when something happens from the very beginning with the macaws, you're already invested.
Yes, 100%. I mean, it was just...
it's great world building.
Yes.
I mean, they've been building the world, taking another term from film studies, world building. They've been building this world ever since we arrived, and that reinforces it. And when the show starts, you mentioned earlier, Karen, no intermission. There's no intermission.
No.
It is a solid, I'm going to say solid 90, it may be a little less than that, but it's like a solid 90 start to finish, and it is just mind-blowing, incredibly death-defying, acrobatic start to finish.
Yes.
And we have some dramatic interplay in between them, so it's not this high-octane adrenaline pumping the whole time. You do have those emotional resets like you do in a film. So those emotional resets in which there's the romance between the Sapphire Pirate and the Crimson Pirate. But I thought I was at the circus. Or if you've been to Animal Kingdom, Festival of the Lion King. And so you have these incredible acrobats that are also acting. It's not just about the stunts. It is about the show. And the stunts do not feel separate from the show. The show and the stunts do feel cohesive. And everything is building the story, is supporting the plot and the character development. And so you're never taken out of anything. You're brought in. They hold on to you
and never let go
the whole time. They never let go.
I literally felt like a little kid. I felt like 10-year-old me hanging out with my daughter who's 10. I don't know how that math would work out, but like
was it mathing?
I know, but I felt like a child. Like the inner little Karen came out and was just. I believed that was really Blackbeard the pirate, you know. I believe
he's like 6'6", 6'7". Like he's like, oh my God, it's like he looks like if I were to create Blackbeard in my head, like the perfect looking Blackbeard, this gentleman would be it.
Yeah, you took a photo of me beside him, and I'm like I'm in his armpit. I mean, he's like a very tall glass of water. He's a big guy, but perfect for the part.
Very much so. And my only thing is, even though this is a new building, I felt like it was haunted. Like I don't know if you noticed, like in the later on in the show, weird, creepy things started happening, and you know where I'm going with this. It takes them a minute to catch up, but yes, it was weird, creepy, ghostly things.
Yeah, we're going to come back to the haunted elements in the show here in just a moment. Listeners, we're coming up on our final break, but don't go anywhere. Paul, Karen, and I will be right back to finish our discussion on Dolly Parton's Pirates Voyage. So keep the dial or stream right here on 90.7 WKGC.
This is Gene Knight, host of Cafe Jazz. And at Cafe Jazz, we play real jazz for folks who feel jazz. Original vinyl recordings from swing to mainstream and progressive, and some of the more recent releases by up-and-coming artists. Cafe Jazz is a total jazz experience. That's why your radio station airs Cafe Jazz. So if you're a real jazz lover, remember to listen to Cafe Jazz.
Mondays at 8 p.m. on WKGC.
Finding a great job is a huge accomplishment, but wouldn't it be nice to secure a great life too? The United States Air Force can give you both. When you join, you don't just serve your country. You open yourself up to a number of amazing benefits. You'll have the chance to travel all over the world and enjoy the comfort and security of full health coverage for yourself and your family. Take advantage of educational opportunities, including tuition to pay for college and a pay increase with every promotion. The decision to join the Air Force is one you'll never regret. Contact me, Staff Sergeant Rosemary McGill, at 334-451-4217 to learn more information.
Welcome back. You're listening to Real Talk on 90.7 WKGC. You are with Ryan R.L. Terry. My guests today have been Paul Bonnette, chair of the Hilton Hospitality Management Program at Gulf Coast State College, and WKGC's own Karen, host of The Blend and Cold Cases and Curiosities. We've been talking about Dolly Parton's Pirates Voyage, now welcoming guests in Panama City Beach. And before the break, Paul, you were hinting at something that I absolutely loved and was not expecting at all. I was expecting some of the stunts. I was expecting the acrobatics. I was expecting like the many of the show elements. I was not expecting this show element. I'd say probably the third act of the show. So please elaborate.
Well, since I'm a paranormal investigator, I love talking about ghosts and hauntings and whatnot. But also with this, it's kind of there's certain things you expect. You expect pirates. You expect sword fighting. You expect mermaids. You expect, these elements, these acrobatics. Yes. But then it starts, giving you an element that you don't expect, which is the spooky element as the ghost of Davy Jones rises from the depths. And it's, all of a sudden it goes from this cheerful me hearties and all these kind of,
very whimsical to kind of creepy.
Right.
Yeah.
And the skeletons descend from the rafters, and poor Calico Jack is left to defend himself against Davy Jones' army. And, you'll see more about it if you go to the show. But I just loved the spooky element of that they kind of take you where they want you. Yeah. They kind of, take you on this adventure, and they maneuver you. They make you feel the romance. They make you feel the action adventure.
And you get it all, because when we think pirates, if you were to think of some of your favorite pirate movies, you get a little of that. You get the swashbuckling adventure. You get the romance. You get like pirate legends and lore, some curses and ghosts and treasure. And so all of these things that have become part of pirate lore, whether they were invented in a novel or whether they even passed down orally generation, all of these different things that have collectively become pirate legend and lore have found their way into this show in one way or another.
Well, and one of the hooks for the original Pirates of the Caribbean...
Another pirate.
Oh, hey. Yes. I can't believe I missed that. But one of the things that drew me into the original Pirates movie, the original Pirates of the Caribbean, is the line that, Jeffrey Rush says, "You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one."
Ooh.
And it was just something that really kind of, it really showed you what kind of pirate movie you were going to expect, and this is like that.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but you're right. That line in the movie, again, great analogy, pulling from movies. So we're still getting our movie talk here on
See, I help.
ReelTalk.
It's okay. I
You
help.
did good. You did good. It's like, I'd hate to go off course, but it's shake and bake, and I help.
Yep, exactly.
You remember that commercial?
It's shake and bake, and I help. Yes.
Any singular moment here as we're getting towards the end of the show? Any singular moment in the show really stands out for you guys? Karen, to start with you. Paul's probably the haunted stuff, so we'll make sure we get you in here. Is there any single moment in the show that stood out to you?
One in particular I can think of, the fire. So they have this
like the fire, yes,
the
fire performer.
Yes, he is first off, he's twirling he's got this what do you call it, baton or something?
Yeah.
And each end is lit, and he's showing you how cool he can do all these little tricks. And then the next thing you know, all the water around him ignites. I was just like, whoa! You could hear, Lacey was recording it with her phone. You could hear me. I was so excited.
10-year-old Karen was losing her mind too.
Yes. Oh, it was great.
Okay, Paul, real quick, and then we got to start closing up the show here. Any single moment that stood out to you, or is the haunted part, is that your favorite?
The haunted part was just my favorite. It's such a great kind of starting to conclude and starting to kind of just a new element that you're not you have to expect the unexpected with this show.
And with that, we're approaching the end of our show. We hope you've enjoyed this review of Dolly Parton's Pirates Voyage Stuntacular Dinner and Show, now welcoming guests in Panama City Beach. For more information on tickets and show times, you can visit piratesvoyage.com. Be sure to return next week when ReelTalk reviews Universal Pictures live action, minus the dragons of course, remake of the animated hit film How to Train Your Dragon.
Ryan, although I'm really looking forward to seeing your revisit of this Academy Award-winning, animated film, I think you've got something else coming up. Something that I think you're going to need a bigger show for.
And might I add that it's celebrating its diamond anniversary?
Yeah, right, you both are. We will be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the original summer blockbuster Jaws right here on ReelTalk on Monday the 23rd.
So one thing I think also, make sure you please, listeners, call in for these shows. We want to talk to you. We want to hear your viewpoints and everything. And so I think that's something very important that I'd like to point out on the show. And thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thank you very much both for being here today. Official 50th anniversary of Jaws is June 20th. So listeners, you've got time to go rewatch Jaws, and then you can join the conversation, as Paul said, on Monday the 23rd. We are at the end of our show here, so I hate to leave. This has been a wonderful conversation. If you've missed any of today's episode or to listen to past shows from WKGC, we are now on a podcatcher near you, so look for WKGC on your podcast service of choice. Stay tuned for Jazz in a Minor Key with Walter Hale coming up next, followed by All Things Considered starting at 3 o'clock. So tune in again next week, same time, same place for more Real Talk on 90.7 WKGC.